Hello and welcome. I wanted to make a quick tutorial here on my food blog and how I've been making Google web stories. It has completely changed the dynamics of my blog and the amount of traffic I'm getting. Here are just some quick examples of all the different stories I've made. I've had about 100 already, and I've had a lot go viral. In fact, my analytics are actually quite crazy to look at. So this is over the last 60 days, and really it's only about 6 weeks worth of work, since I didn't really discover this until like the second week of December. So you can see here just like how crazy my traffic has gone over the last month and a half or so. But I went from doing about just under 100,000 page views in a 60-day period, so roughly 50-ish thousand a month, to now over 700,000 in that same time period. And while I am a low-carb food blog, I guarantee you that most of that traffic is because of these web stories. And I also love that the bounce rate is so different. You can see it used to be 87%, and then the last 2 months since doing web stories, it's down to only 29.49%. That's insane, because I'm really keeping people on these stories and they're just such a great tool. So let's dive in. This is just a really quick tutorial on building out your design. So I start with a blank page, and I always put the title in that top left where you can see it says keto friendly bacon cheeseburger. And then I'm gonna utilize these different tabs over here on the right. So you should already have your logo populated. I'm gonna add my cover photo for this, which I already popped into my media library. This has to have a 900 by 1200 ratio. This is the only thing I do in Canva. So once all the fields are filled out, I add that. That's what Google is gonna show. Next, do the story description. This is the same thing as like your blog post's metadata. So I'm gonna go in, or your meta tag, and so I'm gonna copy this literally straight from my site, because it's already keyword rich, and I'm gonna pop it in there, and that's just what I've been doing. So it has to be under 200 characters. It'll tell you if you're over or not. So now we need to start making our slides. So I go over to my media library tab. There's this little button up on the top left. I'm gonna search the topic that I'm doing. So this is my cheeseburger kebab recipe, and because I'm a food blogger, I obviously have a lot of step-by-step photos and process shots. So I'm gonna go through and find the ones that I need. First, I'm gonna pull a photo that's the same one, or almost the same one, to that cover photo I just popped in. So this will be the first slide that people see once they click on that Google carousel. I'm going to wanna go back over here on the right and immediately add my link. And by doing all of this on the first slide, it's going to populate for all the other slides. So make sure you do this the very first slide, and it makes doing these so much easier. So you have to make sure that that photo has been clicked on, add the link, and then I'm gonna go in and start adding some text. You can utilize some of their pre-made designs, but I actually find it's better to just make my own and go really simple. So I'm gonna add a box here. So it's kind of like the same thing I would do in Canva if I was making a Pinterest pin. So I'm just gonna go in, make this easy to see. You could change the color to whatever you want. I'm gonna go with white, and then lower the opacity so it's a little more transparent but still readable. And then I'm gonna toggle back over to the text. So they have the same SEO tags that you would see in a blog post, your H1, your H2. For the most part, I just stick to an H1. And you can change, you can see I'm like messing with the design over here. So anytime you're highlighted in blue, that's the part that you're working on. So I'm gonna change that, get rid of that background image and the highlighting, and I'm literally copying the title and popping it straight in again. I'm gonna center it and then stretch it out. You can make it bold, do whatever you need to do, and then use that little guide there to make sure that it's center on your post. Then what I usually like to do is go back over, add a tag to say what website this is, just to give myself some credibility and some brand recognition. So I do like to go in and actually change the text behind this. And I usually make that black and the actual text white. I like to make it center, I'll bold it, and then anything that's paragraph based, whether it's written text or even when I'm doing this, it needs to be a minimum of 24 for your font size. That is compliant for Google's SEO best practices, probably just so it's more readable on all of your slides. So I add that to the top, and this is just my heading slide. Okay, now over here at the bottom, once you see this blue kind of clicked on again, you want to check out that your URL link is there. You can see it auto populates that learn more. You could also write get the recipe or get more information. I usually like to leave the first few slides just to say learn more. And then usually on the last slide, I might change it so the reader knows what to do. Now that that's set up, let's look at these bottom features here. You have like a trash button, a duplicate page button. You can add a blank page. And then you can also play or preview what your story is going to look like periodically. So this is what that first page looks like now. I leave it at that 7 seconds. That's auto-generated by Google here. But you're gonna want this duplicated page button to be your godsend, and this is what allows you to just plug and chug. So I've already got all of my SEO populated. It copies that automatically. I like to go in and just start adding my slides and my text. So usually on that second slide, I actually really like to give the reader the exact meta tag data. And I don't know if Google's like exactly telling you to do this, but I like to pop that in specifically. And I just think that this maybe is a good idea for the reader to understand exactly what they're going to see, because they don't see that meta tag data. Google does. So I just like to add this in for the user only. I literally copy and paste. I don't even pick any of the headings on the left, and it just auto does it. Just make sure it's 24 font. You can move it around and do any of your checklist stuff as needed. I'm just kind of playing around with the design here so that everything looks nice and center. All right, you're just gonna continue, duplicate again. Now I'm gonna go back into my media gallery, and I have the step-by-step photos for this topic. So I'm gonna go in, drag and drop. I'm gonna just change my text to whatever I want it to be. It's already set up. So again, I don't have to go back in and add any of the data I put in on that first slide. So you're really going to have so much more success if you get that all done initially. And then I can knock these out in about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna write this out. Again, you can go higher than 24 font on this. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, depending on how it looks. But it is easier to keep it at 24 as the lowest. And then I find I have more room for the picture to be viewed. All right, so I've moved this around. You can actually click on the picture. If you double click, you can move your photo around. That just gives you the ability to sort of manipulate things as you want. And then I duplicate it again, and I'm just gonna keep going here. Same concept, plug, chug, retype, do what I need to do. I don't have to keep changing my brand logo there, my brand name. I don't have to change any of the boxes. It just makes life so much easier. And like I said, I can knock these out over and over and over again. I do always have to redo that first slide for each individual one. But once I get that done, that takes the most amount of time. You can literally just keep doing this as you need to. I've sort of cut it down here so you don't have to watch me make every single slide. But you can see how I've made this. So this is my last slide. I usually like to do some sort of call to action on the last slide and to let the viewer know exactly where they're gonna get that full recipe. So here is where I'll go back in, hover over and write get the full recipe instead of learn more. And I just find that maybe this is just for me, I don't know. But I just really like this, and I'm just kind of manipulating the image again just so that the user can see it. I think it looks good. I'm gonna double check my checklist. I'm not getting any errors. I think it is so important to view it in preview mode because it's going to give you a full screen view. It's going to show you all of your images, your text, and make sure that nothing is out of bounds or cut off. You can then also go back and edit anything or double check your spelling. You can always go back and edit a published one, but it's easy just to do it right off the bat. So now that you are done, you just simply either save your draft or go ahead and publish your story. It's all set, it's all ready to go. I hope that this tutorial helps you a little bit so that you can make these a little faster. There's a ton of info on that full post. Thanks for watching.